Welcome to the JRPG Canon, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game to learn a little bit about video games. I'm Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And today we will be doing our homework and eating our vegetables, and we will be heading back to the beginning of literally anything that you could squint at and consider it to be a RPG video game. And we'll be covering the first ever interactive fiction computer game, 1975's Colossal Cave Adventure, though we will be playing the expanded 1977 version, which is the one that everybody else played. We're going to be doing several episodes in a row on early interactive fiction games, because most notably the NES port of Portopia Serial Murder Case is the reason that Dragon Quest has a menu, and now all JRPGs are menus. So we're going to be working up to that one. We have a couple interesting stops along the way.
Yeah, this is not a JRPG.
Definitely not.
It is canonical.
Yes. Yeah, the JRPG canon is less the canon of JRPGs and more the canon to JRPGs. So this is all the ancient important texts, like how the canon of the Old Testament, which is where we get the word from, is not where all of the religion for the New Testament for Christianity comes from, but it is important, so it's still in the Bible, assuming that's important to you. But I've never played Colossal Cave Adventure at all, and I honestly thought that it was by Roberta King, but she just did the remake from a couple years ago. So I knew literally only incorrect information about this game before we started today.
Wait, did you say Roberta King?
Did I say Roberta King?
Did you mean Roberta Williams?
Yeah, sorry. I was going off the top of my dome, and I didn't have her name in front of me.
Who's Roberta King?
I don't know. That sounds familiar.
Associate Professor of Communication and Ethnomusicology in the School of Intercultural Studies at Fuller Seminary. Probably not who you were thinking of.
No.
Yeah. But that's the first result.
Yeah, the lady from Sierra.
Yes.
Roberta Williams.
I can't believe you knew incorrect information about something.
I know, it's new for me. But yeah, have you interacted with this game at all before?
No, I didn't even know its name until you were like, yeah, we're gonna do something about Colossal Cave Adventure.
Yeah, it's one of the most important games of all time that I don't know anybody who's played it, even the modern remake. But let's dive in and talk about the history. So 1975 was a really, really long time ago. Computing in the 70s was very weird and doesn't seem anything like it is nowadays. Computers were huge, like the size of houses, and people interacted with them with either a dummy terminal that was just a monitor and a keyboard that connected over the network to the huge computer, or a literal printer where they would type it and then it would print out instead of showing on a screen. It was very barely a computer, and yet almost immediately the people yearned for video games.
Yes.
So there were some early text-based games played on these mainframe computers, and there were things like Hunt the Wumpus, which is a great name. 10 out of 10, no notes. But Hunt the Wumpus, and then Star Trek, capitals all the way through in one word. But those were like text describing a puzzle or simulation game, and they weren't really adventure games as we would come to know them.
I'm sorry. I'm just now processing. Hunt the Wumpus? Is that what it was called?
Yes, Hunt the Wumpus.
Are we going to do a JRPG canon about Hump the Wumpus?
No, it's a puzzle game. It has nothing to do. This one is as far back as we can go in the realm of computer games. We could do an episode on Dungeons and Dragons before this, but as far as interactive entertainment, this is literally as far back as we can go.
Do you know what the earliest known computer game to enter development is? According to Wikipedia, at least.
No, I did not.
Turing, a chess program developed by Alan Turing and David Champernoun. I'm sorry, I never read his name carefully. In 1948.
Wow. Makes sense that it would be by Alan Turing then.
And David Champernoun, who I don't know who that
Yeah.
is, but
But the so-called father of computing was like, you know what everyone needs? Computer games.
yes.
So, in the 1970s, William Crowther and his wife were avid cavers, people who explore cave systems. And his wife, actually, her name was Pat. She discovered a connection between the Mammoth caverns and the Flint Ridge caverns in Kentucky. She's like a big deal in the caving scene back in the day. But their marriage was not meant to last. And after the divorce, William stopped exploring caves almost entirely, and he instead wanted a way to spend time with his daughters, who he didn't get to see as much. So he took his experiences with caving and his love of Dungeons and Dragons and decided to make a game that would be simple enough for his daughters to play, where they could explore the caves that he loved exploring and find some treasure and magic like from Dungeons and Dragons. His daughters enjoyed the game, and he showed it off to some friends and family, and soon it spread around ARPANET, the earliest fledgling version of the internet. It wasn't even called the internet back then. But once it was released into the wild, Crowther considered himself done with it. He wasn't at all interested in iterating or expanding on it, and in fact, after installing it on the mainframe at BBN, where he worked at the time, he took a month-long vacation and was surprised that people were still talking about it when he returned. The game at the time was just called Adventure, or Advent, as the file was called, and it spread through ARPANET and eventually landed in front of Don Woods, a graduate student at Stanford University. He loved adventure and had ideas on how to improve it, but the game was closed source, so he wanted to find this William Crowther and work with him on adventure. So he did what was sensible, and he sent an email to Crowther at Sitename, where Sitename was every domain name that existed at the time, because there were only like 10, which is insane, but it worked.
My God.
So, since Crowther said that he was done with adventure and didn't want to go back to it, he gave the source code over to Woods, and Woods turned the around 700 lines of code that was adventure into the around the 3,000 lines of code that would be retroactively referred to as Colossal Cave Adventure.
I mean, he did make the cave adventure a lot more colossal.
That's true. Crucial to the spread of this new version was the fact that the source code was included with the game. So anyone could take the Fortran code and port it to other architectures, like into C or BASIC or whatever, as well as make mods and expansions to their own, make their own versions. By 1982, there were so many copies and remakes and ports and spiritual successors to Adventure that an article in Your Computer magazine referred to any game about navigating rooms and issuing short commands to explore them as adventure games, with adventure in italics, because it was directly referring to Colossal Cave Adventure. So one of the oldest and most prevalent video game genres is literally a Souls-like or Metroidvania or Doom clone genre name, meaning adventure games are all games that play like Colossal Cave Adventure and not games that you go on an adventure in. And
Holy
I think
shit.
this is the fun fact I wanted to spoil for you last week. It's so cool that adventure games,
God,
it means games like adventure.
that rules.
It's so good. So yeah, let's get Lamp and enter cave to look game and see where this all began. So yeah, adventure's really, really good, actually.
Yeah, I don't know how much of what we played was Crowther, how much of it was Woods, how much of it was whatever, but what we played fucking ruled.
Yeah, like after we stopped recording, because the main reason we stopped recording is the web version is bugged, and if you hit that bug, you can't get out of it.
Also, my internet was started being bad.
And so I was like, I want to play more. There's got to be other copies out there. So I looked, and BSD Linux includes adventure just as like for funsies, because it's basically like how Windows comes with solitaire, but Linux is all command line, so it comes with adventure, which is super cool.
Oh
But
my God.
uh not all Linuxes have it, and CachyOS, which is the one I have, didn't use it, but you can install the package just from all the package managers. So I started playing more adventure and I stopped at like 2 a.m. It was stupid good. I sent, as I was playing, I sent Bernard a bunch of screenshots of more things we didn't see. But there's two different mazes that you can get to. One of them is the vending machine maze, and that was the first one I found. And each room has 12 exits, and each of the 12 exits points to a different one of the rooms. And I, just because of the order I checked everything in, I ended up having to map like all but 3 rooms with all of the exits before I found my way out. And so I have a piece of paper that's just written all over it, because the each of the rooms is called a different thing. That's like a twisty maze of little passages, or a little maze of twisty passages, or a little maze of twisting passages, and it's insane. And it was a blast just figuring it out and mapping it out myself. And then I of course looked up tips later, and they were like, don't do that. Don't make a map. Here's the way to do it. But it was awesome that I was able to figure it out. I also love a lot of the just the baked in humor. We saw a bunch of things that were very funny during the recording, but my favorite one, it happened this is yet another week where the game was so good I didn't stop playing, and then I had more shit to talk about. But there's you come across a dragon at one point, and you don't have any weapons because they got stolen by a pirate. And so you type in kill dragon, and then it says with what, your bare hands, and it asks you a yes or no question. So you type in yes, and it's like, huh, I'm surprised that worked, you killed the dragon. It's so good.
I believe you sent me a screenshot of you doing that, and the text said something like the enormous corpse of a dragon is nearby, and I was like, take corpse of dragon, and then you tried, and it didn't let you.
Yeah, it said some, I think the answer was, "Are you kidding?" when I tried to take it, which is very good.
Yeah, since the game was hilarious both in the version we played in the video and the version that you played on Linux, I'm
Mhm.
guessing being hilarious is inherent to the game
Yeah,
and not just something that happened in the version we happened to play.
yeah, it seems at the very
Again,
least
don't know if it was Crowther or Woods who made it hilarious, but it's
yeah,
very funny.
it at the very least goes back to Woods, because the version online starts with the credits and it just lists Crowther and Woods. The version I played lists a lot more people. And most of those I think are just the maintainers of the GitHub distro. But yeah, it's really great. And like that night I played, I think we stopped recording it around like 9:30 or 10, and I played until 2 in the morning. On the other one, I just kept going, and I thought that I had found nearly everything, because I found both of the mazes, and then I found another direction that to go around the part where we died a bunch of times. I found actually how to get through that part, and then that just kept going into like a whole bunch of new rooms, and I'm like, all right, I've basically found everything. And no, I didn't. It was about a quarter of the game. This game is very big and very cool.
I mean, apparently Woods expanded it a lot when he got his hands on it.
Yeah. And one thing that I didn't like about this game though, and it came up a lot more throughout the night. It came up a lot for us, but the RNG of if you're a tax work or not. Like obviously I love RNGs in RPGs. That's part of what makes them fun, but you don't have any stats that you can get better on here, and you don't have really any control over it, and you only have 3 lives. So you basically just have to keep trying until you don't miss, but the dwarf does. And it kind of, there was one I was playing, it's like 30 turns of just us missing each other constantly. And it was
That
a little
okay, that
tedious.
that's pretty tedious, but I mean, ultimately, if I play a game made in the fucking 1970s and I have
Yeah.
a good time, I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other games that came with the Linux package was Battlestar, and I was like, oh, let me like do another adventure game, one that I don't have to talk about on the podcast. And that one was not as good. It even says in the guy who made it still has a website, which is insane. But on his website, he said that it was less of a game and more of just a thing to explore. And I could tell there's just a lot of things going around, but not a lot of point to anything. So this one being like it had a point to go and get all the treasure. It had various things that I would consider quests, like when the pirate steals all of your stuff, you then implicitly have a quest to go find the pirate and get all your stuff back. And there's there's so much in this game. Like we talked about in both Dragon Quest and Fire Emblem that it was insane that they got so much right on their first try. And it's
Yeah.
insane that they got so much right on their first try with Adventure.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't played the 1976 version, which would be the first try,
True.
but still, some people did an extremely good job making an adventure game
Yeah.
very early, and that's really cool.
Yeah. So I don't know if this version has an ending because I didn't get to it, but they recently remade this but with Roberta Williams, not King. I said it right this time. But Roberta
It was
Williams
so
is
funny how how I googled Roberta King to find out who you were thinking of, and there was like nobody particularly notable with that name.
no, it definitely was not. But Roberta Williams's version added an ending, and when you get out, it's like these blue elf people have made a like adventure tour. And you completing the game was you completing the tour, and they just like give you a bunch of golf claps, and then it rolls the credits, and that's insane. I just not very relevant to this one besides the fact that it was a very odd thing that I found. But I was looking online to see if it was any good, and it looks like a Gary's Mod game. I mean, they made it in their free time while COVID was around, so that's fine that it looks like a Gary's Mod game, but it's not like I don't think it adds much despite being in 3D.
Having graphics at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on Steam now, and I guess it looks fine, but like it was funny how in the trailer I immediately recognized, oh, there's the building where you get all the stuff. There's the
Hmm.
rock bed or whatever.
Uh,
Uh it felt immediately recognizable even though yeah, it was just text when
it's
we
just
played it.
text. And it wasn't even like
There's the grate.
it wasn't even like super detailed text. So
Yeah.
it was just really good at like creating a vision with very little text, which was very cool.
Also probably helps that the early text we saw a lot.
Yeah, definitely. One of the Linux version, if you go back to a place, it just names the room. So it's like you're back at the grate, you're back at the forest or whatever. Which is nice on the amount of text you have to reread.
Yeah. That makes it so oh, do I need to reread this?
Yeah,
Or is this something I've already seen?
yeah.
Did you
But
figure out or did we figure out and I forget what the fuck the deal with capturing the bird is?
yes, so the bird doesn't like the rod if you have the
Oh,
rod with you
right, right,
because
right,
it's
right, right.
super like feels evil or whatever. You can't catch the bird. But if you so you have to leave the rod in a different room, then come catch the bird each time you use it.
Right.
But I don't think you have to use it, except that's the secret to get through the pirate maze, because the pirate maze, all of the rooms have the exact same description instead of them being different descriptions. So you just have to drop a bunch of items from your inventory. And so if you can release the bird and then drop the cage in two different rooms and it'll count. So that's the only reason to get it back after the snake that I've seen. This is a early adventure game, and those are famous for the final boss needs you to release the bird at it that you got in the second room of the game, sort of thing.
Sometime we usually record the videos of JRPG Canon like at my bedtime. So
Mhm.
sometimes I forget stuff because I'm
Yeah,
usually a little sleepy when we play.
yeah,
And then
and
we don't record our takeaways until a few days later.
yeah,
So everything's gone.
yeah. I am very excited to play the next game on our list, which is Zork, the other text adventure that everyone is familiar with. And one I'll have a lot more to say then, but I was prepared to like this in a way that I thought it was quaint and it being like, oh, I can see where they're going. But now I'm like super excited for the second time that someone made a really good one of these.
I
And
mean, yeah, I expected this to be quaint, but it was just so much fun.
yeah, I absolutely loved it. And it deserves to have an entire genre named after it, which is
An
my favorite fun
entire
fact.
it deserves to be one of the most fundamental works
Yeah.
in video game history, and it's crazy to me that I didn't know about it until it was time to do it on JRPG Canon.
Yeah. I haven't done much research for Zork yet. It just ironically came up as one of the episodes I in Video Game History Hour. They were talking to the curator of the MIT museum, and Zork was made at MIT the way that Adventure was made at Stanford.
Hmm.
And so they just talked about some stuff there, and it just seems like Zork had good marketing behind it, and Adventure was just word of mouth. And so Adventure was copied a bunch, but then the one that made it out into Normie Land was Zork, which
Yeah,
is
I mean,
neat.
I have heard of Zork.
Mhm.
Also, Zork got a ton of sequels.
Yeah, though actually, I'll go into this next time. The game was called Dungeon, and it was all of Zork 1, 2, and 3 put together, and they couldn't release that anywhere basically because it was too big, and they didn't have any sort of like, it was too big for the internet, and it was too big for physical, so they split it into Zork 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, cute. But
Very cute.
there
Yeah,
were also lots of other sequels, like Beyond Zork.
yeah. But yeah, Colossal Cave Adventure rules. If you
Yeah,
have access to a Linux
computer.
device or the internet to play on that one, I'm sure there's a version of it for any sort of thing you can emulate on. They kept remaking it until the mid 90s. So definitely recommend playing it. And I'm sure the Roberta Williams one is still fun because the DNA they're building off of is also fun. But yeah, it would be stupid to not put this in the JRPG canon because like it's the game where you first game where you went out and got items to help you solve puzzles and do quests. Like every RPG game relies on adventure existing.
Most video games in general rely on adventure existing, at least games with stories.
Yeah, pretty much. But that will bring us to the end of today's episode. If you like what you heard today and you're not subscribed to RPG Book Club, you should check us out wherever you get your podcasts. After subscribing, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where any and all donations will help us offset the cost of running the show. If you donate $1 or more a month, you'll get access to our bonus feed, which has after shows for each episode of the podcast, as well as bonus seasons of the show that cover the Tales of series and the Star Ocean series. If you donate $5 or more a month, you'll also get your name shouted out at the end of every episode, a little like this. Shoutouts to Dragon Slayer 19, Freddie Rodriguez, and JFro Prime. And then finally, at $20 or more a month, you can make me say one sentence shout out to whatever you like, such as El Tantav, who wants you to check out Aftermath.site, a worker owned, reader supported news site covering video games, the internet, and the cultures that surround them, as well as Kale Dronis, who says to check out Podcasters Assemble. It's a documentary style, crowdsourced movie hype and rewatch podcast. Every season, podcasters from around the world are assembled to review, reminisce, and riff on a popular franchise. And then shoutouts to Vimk, who says, I'm indentured, not a slave. And shoutouts to It's Clear Time, who says, for you TTRPG nerds, check out Fabula Ultima. I'm not affiliated with the game, I just think it's neat. For the JRPG canon, I've been Sam.
I'm Bernard.
Go play some games.